I mentioned that I'm writing a book, and it's a business book. It's about business strategy, and it's a very useful thing I think you're going to find, because I'm going to show you a way at looking at business that you probably never thought about before. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a story that all of you know, or actually you just think you know, and I'm going to show you the power of perspective. So my students know I used to have a really cool job, well, way back when, and I learned a lot of really valuable things as a young man. Uncle Sam's kind of funny about his airplanes, kind of like your dad. He wants to bring the car back in as good a condition. Fortunately, Uncle Sam didn't want us to bring these back full of fuel because they cost about $5,000 an hour to run. But probably the most important thing that I learned from being an aviator is that you have to take the end-to-end view to be successful. Because the single biggest external factor that affects success in aviation is the weather, the one variable over which you have the least amount of control. So aviators are taught from day one to think, how are all these things going to work together? Okay? And the analogy I always give my clients is, I say that if you're flying halfway across the Pacific Ocean and you find out you can't take fuel from the tanker airplane, which I saw happen once, but not to me, that's a really bad time for your boss to come up on the radio and say, you know, you really should have thought this thing through. So when I decided I wanted to do something different with my life and move into the private sector, I actually was hired, my students know this, to an IT project manager position. I actually knew nothing about IT, but I knew how to make things happen and get things done, and I knew how to think end to end.